DJ PK and Mike Folta joins us, radio voice of the Utah Hockey Club. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you? We got a big date with the Toronto Maple Leafs today, which is like the Lakers of the NBA. So it should be a fun one at the Delta Center tonight. Late one, 8:22 puck drop. I know that's past your guys' bedtime, but we're making it work over here on Mammoth Radio.
Okay, I'm going to have some warm milk and take a nap in order to be able to watch that puppy.
Don't worry, we'll have some radio highlights cut for you, PK. So take your dad nap, get some rest in, and we'll fill you guys in. But we're charged up about it because this team is playing pretty well right now. We have a point streak going on, and it's a big stretch for Utah. These 7 games at home here in the middle of January. And so far, they've done a pretty good job making the most of it. Slipped up a little bit in the last game against Columbus, but still managed to get a point out of that game. And you have a great opportunity against a really good team in Toronto who's red hot. I mean, they have points in 10 straight, had a big win against the Avalanche last night in overtime. And we're hoping that the altitude is going to catch up with them tonight at the Delta Center.
Have you got any math on that? Because in basketball, we've heard that forever. Teams coming into Utah on the second night of a back-to-back, the Jazz winning percentage goes up. Teams playing at elevation, major disadvantage. David Locke dug up numbers over years that playing at elevation, Denver and Utah have the 2 truest home court advantages in the league. So this is both of those things because Toronto's in Colorado and now in Utah back-to-back. How big an advantage is that? You got any data on that, or is it all gut instinct?
I don't. That's a great point. I'll have to dig into that. I don't, but I've asked one of our strength coaches, the guy who oversees kind of the health and wellness of the players and rest and recovery, Devin McConnell, about that. And I'm like, is there anything teams can do to adjust to altitude? Because Utah has to deal with it too when we come back from these long road trips. Because according to Devin, as you go out to lower altitudes, you kind of lose your mountain lungs, basically. And so it's an adjustment to come back, even for those of us who have been here a while. Now, I would imagine that those of us who have lived at elevation for a while just kind of get used to that change. But the Mammoth have to deal with it as well when they come back from the road. And Devin was telling me that, and then they have all these high-tech gizmos and gadgets, where they're measuring guys' oxygen intake and heart rate and things like that. Devin was telling me that it takes a couple days to get used to the altitude, and most teams travel in the day before. So, physiologically speaking, these teams aren't necessarily up to speed. They aren't up to our speed if we've been at home at altitude for a while. And there's really nothing you can do to train for it or prepare for it or get used to it. You might see teams take shorter shifts throughout games, so they'll be out there for 30 to 45 seconds instead of 45 seconds to a minute. That's a small adjustment teams will make when they're tired or they're sucking air. But truthfully, I don't have any numbers. I would love to study that a bit more. But our strength coach, Devin McConnell, was saying, there's really nothing you can do to try and mitigate that.
This homestand, we pointed to it for weeks and months. It's exactly like we did last year. Right? And it's sort of funny in that they find themselves in the same situation. You're around the team. Now, you don't want to make too big of a deal because you don't want to play tense. You want to be free and loose and all that stuff. How much conversation is that we got to make headway right now? And is it almost becoming an obstacle rather than, hey, let's just go out and play the game and be loose and that type of thing?
Yeah, that's a great point, PK, because I think last year at home, we saw this team struggle. We saw this team struggle trying to make a new impression on this Utah fan base. And we even heard from the guys and head coach Andre Tourigny saying, we were gripping the stick a little bit too tight. And I think we've kind of put those days behind us this year. Home record's been better this season. And you start this homestand. You won the first couple games of the homestand too, so that helps. You kind of get the monkey off the back a little bit. That eases some pressure. But you're talking about last year. Last year, this team went 3-4, so they had a losing record during our January 7-game homestand a year ago, and that kind of put us behind the 8 ball, where this year you get off to a good start, you pick up 5 out of the possible 6 points to start the homestand, and it's going to get a little tougher. The competition gets stiffer tonight with Toronto coming into town, but I think getting those first few out of the way and kind of learning from last year have helped this group.
How much does it matter to add in a game where you need a lot of people, right? You got 4 lines, you got half dozen defensemen over here. How much does it matter to add Peterka and to get the numbers that he's putting in? Because there are stretches of his team where goals are hard to come by, and he's a guy who can score in bunches.
Oh, that's why he was brought in, right? Yeah. And we saw this team last year that had a lot of good analytics. They did a lot of the good things offensively. They got to the hard areas of the ice. They got the puck to the middle. They created a lot of scoring chances, but they just couldn't finish. Well, JJ is kind of the opposite of that, where you might not notice him all night and then, boom, all of a sudden he scores 2 goals. I like to say that JJ's strength is the hardest thing to do in the NHL, and that's score goals. He's got elite caliber speed. He has an elite shot as well. He plays in space really well. He plays off the rush extremely well. And so, we've seen a couple of electrifying moments at the Delta Center where, he's got just a little bit of daylight and then, boom, he's off and running on a breakaway, scores a big goal. And it changes the dynamic of a game when you have a game breaker like that. It's kind of like in basketball, a guy who can just go and get his own shot. Like, you don't need to operate any fancy offense or run any sets. You just have a guy who can go and get a bucket, and JJ Peterka is a bucket getter, and that's something that this team has needed in stretches this year. And the goal scoring hasn't been off the charts this year. I think this team likes where it is offensively, but they might need a few against a pretty high-powered Toronto team tonight. They're one of the top scoring teams in the league.
Has Clayton Keller at the NHL level turned into Braden Smith at the college basketball level?
Nice.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, Clayton Keller would have to be the best assist man in Western Conference history for him to be Braden Smith.
Now, he's the Purdue point guard, for those who don't know, and you went to Purdue.
Well, I mean, how could you not know? He's only the Big Ten all-time assist leader. And you know the best part of that was that Braden Smith passed 2 Michigan State Spartans, Mateen Cleaves and Cassius Winston, to get to that mark. And guess where our TV play-by-play guy Matt McConnell went to school?
Michigan State.
That's right. Yeah. Or East Lansing Community College. Same thing. But
nice.
So just to have Braden Smith pass a couple of those guys was a little cherry on top for me. But if you want to get to Keller, I mean, he has kind of been that. And I like the analogy to the Purdue point guard, because Keller's been dishing him out recently. He's got 3 straight games with multiple assists. Now, a hockey assist is a little harder to get than a basketball assist, but he has been unbelievable when it comes to setting up his teammates recently. And we've talked, guys, about like getting to the hard areas. I used that phrase earlier, or establishing the interior of the ice, the inside of the ice. Clayton Keller is not a big guy. We list him at like 6 foot, 185, or somewhere in that. I think we list him at 5'10". That's pretty close to true. It's kind of like me saying I'm 5'10" on a dating app. It's like, it's 5'9" with boots on, right? He's not the biggest guy, but you watch him play, and he's kind of shouldering guys or being physical with defensemen, establishing position, and then setting his teammates up. And he's embracing that physicality as he gets to the hard-to-reach areas of the ice to set up his teammates and dangerous scoring chances. So he's been unreal recently. And guys, ever since we saw him get appointed to Team USA, when he was announced on the Team USA Olympic roster, his production has been about 50% higher than what it was before. So last year, when he didn't make Team USA, for the Four Nations tournament. We saw his production increase, maybe a bit of revenge, trying to get revenge or prove the doubters wrong. This year, he gets announced to Team USA, and his numbers have increased, maybe a bit of a confidence boost.
Sure.
The Winter Classic is coming to Utah. And PK and I grew up in Southern California. PK lived in Southern California, where the Rose Bowl, people just talk about, and part of the magic is the sun setting in the middle of the second half, which they messed with this year because they changed the kickoff time. The Winter Classic is coming. They're going to play outdoors at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Can you use all your influence and lobby the league so we get the sun setting, somewhere late second period, early third period? Can't set on the San Gables, as PK likes to say, but setting on Mount Olympus over there. It could be quality TV, but you got to talk people into this sometimes. I'm not sure they know.
Well, not to be a geography nerd, but wouldn't the sun set opposite Mount Olympus?
Yeah, but it glows off it when it does.
A reflection.
Yes. It's a reflection off the snow-capped peak.
Well, typically in these outdoor games, they do start during the day when it's light, or when it's lighter. And I think that's just because they want on TV to be able to see the backdrop. Right. Before it gets dark. So typically they do start in the afternoon. I will put in I'll put in my 2 cents for that. We'll see what our good friend Mr. Gary Bettman, the league commissioner, has to say. But I do think we are in line to get a sunset. I'm more worried about the snow.
Yeah,
guys. We got to have some snow on those mountains. When we made the announcement, we missed the snow by like a couple days. And we're looking out at the hills above Rice-Eccles, which are gorgeous, but they're not nearly as breathtaking without a little powder on top. Kind of looks like some anthills. But when you do the wide shot and when you see Mount Olympus in the background, like we'll definitely have snow there and all that stuff.
Yeah, you just have to turn it a little right.
We're trying to figure out like the guy's intro, because like every Winter Classic, the players have some fun intro into the stadium. Down in Miami, they all dressed up as like Miami Vice with the white suits and the pink shirts, riding Lamborghinis into the facility. So,
like how DJ comes into the studio. Yeah.
It's just a day that ends in Y for me, big guy.
That's right. That's right. I thought some jackwagon cut me off in a Lambo earlier.
I do think also, Mike, if you want a little more success on those dating apps, long walks in the park and sunsets on the beach. Guaranteed winner every time.
That works, really. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Throw in a latte or two and you're good to go.
That's like Service Academy football, just 3 yards in a cloud of dust right there. Old Faithful.
Yeah, it works. Yeah. Who doesn't like long walks in the park and sunsets on the beach?
There it is. So we've covered Purdue point guards, dating apps, and Utah sunset geography. It's been a rock solid Utah Mammoth segment with you, Mike Folta.
Nothing but the best. Nothing but the best.
And Mike, when you put that on the app and it works and you score, I want an assist like Clayton Keller and Braden Smith.
That would be a primary helper. That's like
I'll take the secondary assist. I made the pass that led to the pass. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you next week. Utah Mammoth interviews are brought to you by Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, more football, guys on the move, headed to Michigan. Ute and Cougar, former players. The alumni are acting. What are they saying about the New World Order? We will get to that next. Stay with us.